right, let's get into it.
Ooh.
What was grim? What was great?
What was grim? What was great?
The 4th just happened.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I didn't go see any fireworks because I'm pregnant and I don't like to go anywhere anymore.
That's fair enough.
You couldn't even hear them from your house?
Yeah, I could hear them. Yeah.
Just
Could
not
you see any?
No.
Yeah.
I looked online a little bit. I feel like you see one, you see them all. You know?
I don't know.
Fair.
Fireworks don't get old for me.
Really?
I always enjoy seeing
I like
them.
fireworks
Yeah,
too.
they make me happy.
That's good.
It's like seeing Christmas lights. I don't know. Like
That's
Christmas lights
true.
always
Very
make me
true.
I love Christmas lights. Like Christmas never gets old for me.
Same.
So
Yeah.
I guess it just depends.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would have invited you, but we had a very impromptu plans. Like,
Yeah.
I never really plan out July 4th as I would like to.
Right.
Yeah.
But
Yeah, and normally you have a party, but
normally, wait a second. I don't think I've ever had a July 4th party.
I thought you said you did.
No, I
she
had
was
thought
talking
about it.
about
I was
one.
talking about
Oh.
it, but I've never had
Okay.
a July 4th party.
I don't think I have either.
We
Yeah.
need to make that a
We
thing
should.
in the
We
in
should,
the
yeah.
friend group for sure. Like I want it to, but I think with just
I think
other
I would be
things
more
going on.
likely to go if like more people were going.
Oh, for
that you knew.
sure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe next time.
And like I said, if I had knew like what the plan was with like, because my sister coworker, she invited us and stuff like that, I probably would have been like, hey guys, you guys want to come too?
Sure.
But it was
Kinda
very
impromptu.
much last minute. Honestly, it was raining too.
Mm.
So it was touch and go. We didn't
You
even
weren't
know if we
sure
were
if it
gonna
was
like
gonna
go.
happen.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that too. So
And you went and saw fireworks
yeah.
in Irving, and then you saw them the week before?
Yeah, weekend before, the neighborhood puts on a little early 4th of July event. There was
Yeah.
live music, food trucks.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
We
then-
were there
fireworks.
last year.
Did
Me?
you go?
I don't think so.
Oh, you did it?
No.
But
I
I
was-
enjoyed it. And
yeah.
I like that it was the weekend before. I came back from Edinburgh on the 4th of July. So that by the time I got home, it was 9 p.m.
You were already tired.
I was already tired. We heard a few fireworks go off, but I was so happy they didn't go past midnight.
Right.
Thank
Yeah,
God.
that is-
Well, and
Yeah.
sometimes they bug my dog. You know, he'll
Yeah.
sit there and just be like, oh.
Oh,
Yeah.
he be barking.
It makes him
Aw.
anxious. So.
Yeah, both of my dogs paced a little bit. They seemed a little nervous, but it
Right.
wasn't too bad.
Yeah.
Does it make Genesis nervous?
Yeah, well, I think she tries to like not show it as much. She's a little trooper, man.
She's
I
so
feel
sweet.
like she doesn't want to let me know that she's like wigging out, but in
But
her
low
heart,
key, she's like,
low
what's
key,
going on,
she's
Mom?
like a World War II veteran. Like she's gotten
Old
triggered,
soul.
so she was like following me around constantly, like making sure that I'm okay, kind of.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I'm good, but you're shaking, Mama.
They're just trying to figure out what's going on.
So I tried to give her a Benadryl one time, and I think that helped when we went to go leave for the fireworks. But then
Calm her down a
on
little bit.
July 4th, we were home. So I was just like chilling with her, trying to
Right.
like
Yeah.
make her comfy.
Yeah.
Have you guys seen those videos of like the dogs going, like it's like the song in the background, and it's pretty much about like your dog being high on July 4th.
I don't think I've
It's
seen
so
that.
funny.
funny.
The music behind it is so like spot on.
Well, without further ado, if you haven't listened to us before, welcome to Grim Reviews. My name is Bex,
I'm Cherish.
I'm Lizzie.
and we are a true crime podcast where we discuss all things grim and gruesome. And today we are getting into The Curious Case of Natalia Grace. It's a Hulu documentary.
3
And-
seasons, so it's kind of long.
Yeah,
Very
this will
much
probably be a part 1 and part 2, but we're going to get into it.
Yes.
Trigger warnings for sure. For this story, there's a lot of child abuse and some discussion about potential sexual assault. So just keep
Some
that in mind.
spoiler alerts too. Like you
Yeah.
probably want to watch it first and then listen to us because we're gonna
Yeah.
talk about the whole case.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And also too, the way we go about discussing a lot of these films and documentaries is with humor, and we do try to be sensitive to the victims and other people who are sensitive to this type of information. However, this is how we cope. This is how we digest the information that we process. So
We take a
just
little
letting
bit of
y'all
a
know.
silly approach, you know, but we're still sensitive to, like you said, the victims. and
Yeah.
For sure.
everyone surrounding it.
But
Mhm.
with this case in general, there's a lot of interesting personalities that are just too
There's
easy
a
to
lot.
make fun of.
There's a lot.
Yes.
And on that note, I can introduce you to the Barnett family
Oh, boy,
because they are quite the characters.
it's Michael.
It's Michael. Michael Barnett. Can we talk about him for a second? He is
something
just
else.
extra, and he's like the main spokesperson in the documentary that's being interviewed.
Yeah.
And I swear he thinks it's the Michael show, not the
does.
Natalia show.
Drama king.
And yeah, I hope you see some clips of him at some point. He is just so
I'm gonna send you
extra.
some. Yeah.
It's I don't think I've ever seen anything like it.
Yeah. So Cherish has not really watched this.
No,
so
I
you're
have
gonna be
not
more
watched this
reacting.
We're
documentary.
gonna fill her in.
Yeah, we're gonna fill you in. But yeah, I'm gonna send you some clips just because he's so dramatic. I'm like, he
Yes.
had to have done some like improv, you know, like acting classes or something.
It would be really interesting to know his background before
yeah.
all of
Maybe
this
he did
happened.
theater.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I could see it. I could see it. But
He's
oh my
so
goodness, very
dramatic.
self-centered. And so was his wife, who didn't make an appearance in the documentary.
Christine, right?
Christine Barnett, yes. But just from what you hear and what Michael kind of reveals and things that she said and screenshots of messages shared between the two, you can tell she has quite a narcissistic personality too.
Absolutely.
Yeah, very self-centered.
I would say Michael's narcissistic, but she goes over the top.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And that's where a lot of the abuse towards Natalia largely comes from. But just to kind of set you up with the plot. So it's Christine and Michael, and they have a total of three kids. So it's three
They
boys.
have 3 boys. Yeah.
Yes. And only one of the boys comes forward in the documentary. He was kind of a TV personality before the case happened.
Yeah.
He has
He's autism.
yes. At the time they called it Asperger's.
Asperger's,
But
yeah.
autism.
Now it's just a spectrum.
But he is quite intelligent, and he became quite popular on social media because he had memorized pi and
Oh,
That's
he's
pretty crazy.
brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's brilliant. But I really think it has nothing to do with like their parenting. I think he just came out brilliant. Personally.
I think so, but Christine takes a lot of the credit, and she wrote a book, and that's how they became so widely successful. She also
Called
started
The Spark.
The Spark. I actually looked it up, and I have it right here, which it has really good reviews.
I'd be
on
interested to read
Amazon.
it.
I would be interested too, but I just feel like I was just reading the book description, and it does not age well with just how
Really?
everything has
Okay.
turned out. Yeah.
I also don't feel like I'd want to give any money to her, but I am also interested to read it.
Just
you know?
to see
What's
what
in
her
there.
parenting method was. But she takes a lot of credit for his intellectual success.
Right.
His name's Jacob. And yeah, so she has a successful book publishing. She has her at-home daycare, which she had
It made like
started with Jacob.
600,000 just
Oh, I didn't know that.
yeah by
From the daycare or from the book?
No, the book.
Oh,
Like
wow.
that's how
crazy.
much they were paid
Yeah.
up front for it.
Nice.
Wow, that's crazy.
And she kept it all.
And she was they were very popular in the community because of the work they were doing with disabled children or children with special needs. And
They got like donations. They had like at some point she got like a $30,000 donation. They made a lot of money
Yeah.
off of the
shoot.
book and the daycare that they had.
and Michael describes it. They had fancy cars. I think Michael had a Lamborghini. They had
Oh my
just got a
gosh.
McMansion.
yeah.
Wow. What's a mansion?
He called it a McMansion, but
Small
it's like
mansion.
5,000 square foot home.
Oh,
you
okay.
know, really a lot of extra
The
space.
That's
sad
a
part is though, like it's about Jacob, right? He gets none of the money. Like
I
they
actually
don't
didn't
they
know
don't
that.
they don't put aside any money for him.
Really?
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Wow.
She takes
Huh.
it all.
Of course
That's
she does.
wild.
Sounds about right.
Yep.
And this all started in 2010 was really when they were living the dream. And that's of course when everything goes downhill.
Do we know how old Jacob was?
At the time of like his
Like, I guess
Success?
of his success. Yeah.
he was
over.
young, like
was young,
11,
10.
12.
Oh,
yeah,
okay.
around that
And then he
age.
goes to college like at 15. Am I right?
Mhm.
Okay.
Yeah, but when
15
he
or
comes
16?
forward in the documentary, it really shows that he's regressed quite a bit. Just I
Oh,
think because of
no.
everything that happened, and he's not living up to like that full potential. That he
Right. Like
could.
I don't even know if he has a
Dang.
job. They don't really talk about it, but he's
Yeah.
living in Michael's basement.
Ugh.
Yeah.
And
Gosh.
how old is he now? Like
In his 20s.
yeah, late 20s.
Yeah.
so
Humbled.
it's kind of sad. But
Yeah.
Because he's
At
the
the-
oldest. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, late 20s, I'd say.
Well, it just
I would say
shows
so.
like you're gifted, but then if you don't grow up in like a
healthy.
healthy and like what
Right.
is it called? Like a a nurturing environment to continue your growth and everything
Mm-hmm.
like that, then it just kind of gets fumbled, you
Right.
know?
And you can tell, like, since he is autistic, he does struggle with, like, social interactions.
Mhm.
And, you know, maybe it's hard for him to, like, go pursue a career, you know,
That's true.
with those,
Be overwhelming.
Yeah.
social
Mm-hmm.
And on top of the trauma
challenges.
that
Right.
he faced growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. But I
But-
mean, it's also, I mean, have you guys watched Love on the Spectrum?
I have a
watched a
little
That
bit
bit.
of
show?
it, yeah.
I love that show. I love that series.
It's really
I hope they
sweet.
continue
It's so
on.
sweet.
But, and you can't always compare like each autism person to the next. They're all so different, and they, you know, they're just amazing people for going up against like adversity and stuff like that. But it does show that if you are a nurturing and you're hands-on with someone that
Right.
has a little of those limitations that autism can bring, you can live fruitful and abundant and like
Absolutely.
very successful
Right.
lives, having jobs, having like careers, like
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
I
love
like-
lives, all that. And so it's just like seeing how he had this trajectory of doing so well. It's
And
just
it
like he
just
could
kind
have
of
might
goes
have been like
downhill.
along the like lines of like one of those.
Yeah.
But it's just like the fact that
But like on Love,
I know.
Love on the Spectrum, they like kind of coach them, you know.
they do, yeah,
yeah.
they do.
And
But
I feel like it's a forever life thing of like you have to, I don't know, it's like constant education.
for sure,
It's a
yeah.
lifestyle.
It's
Yeah.
definitely
Mhm.
like you're still always going to like probably need assistance or some
Mhm.
sort of hands-on approach, but you know, it's just like is a showcase that you're able to live a
You
very
can be
abundant and full life.
successful. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that like if his parents were there for him, like I don't know, living in the basement is not always like a bad thing.
You could definitely
But-
tell he's not to his full potential.
Yeah,
you know?
it's just like where could he have been if all this stuff that we're gonna get into hasn't taken
Right,
place?
I
So
agree.
And I do want to say, like, I do hope he's getting the resources that he needs to better himself
Yeah.
and live a
Yeah.
happier life, because he just seemed very troubled during the documentary. And I do think the producers, they said
seems
in
like-
the footnotes or something that they had offered resources for him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's
Oh,
very
okay.
sweet. So
Yes.
was he
yeah.
like like fully talkative and everything like that?
He didn't want to
Like-
talk about a lot of the questions they were asking him regarding
Mm.
Natalia because he was so disturbed.
But I'd say he's very high functioning.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay. I
very,
guess that's
very
what I'm
much
trying to
so.
figure
Yes.
out. Like,
Yeah.
was he like
Very
I
high
guess showing
functioning.
like symptoms of like struggling
Well, and
to
they
like
said
get
like
through or something?
Asperger's, you know,
There's some
back in the
social
day,
skill.
which was still like a very,
Mhm.
very high functioning autism. So you know, now it's just a spectrum.
they just
I
don't pick up on social cues, really.
Right.
Okay.
And sometimes there's communication struggles.
Yeah.
And that's how the book became so successful, is because Christine
Mhm.
basically pulled him out of the special education
But he was like a
program.
savant in math.
yeah, but he
specifically.
wasn't. He was slow
Yeah.
to talk or something. And
Sure.
Yeah, and that's
Yeah. Struggled with
Mhm.
social
Yeah.
things.
But yeah, I would say now it's fine. Yeah.
Okay.
But so when they were all at their living at the peak of their success,
Their
they-
greatness. Yeah.
Yes, they
their
decided it
fame.
was a good time to bring another child into their life. And at this point in time, they tried to adopt someone in Haiti or something, and it fell
right.
through. And so that's when
Because of the hurricane.
that's right.
Yeah.
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 And so that's when
Adoption closed there.
Florida, there was an adoption agency, Shepherd Care, out in Florida, reached out, just gave them a call and said, "Hey, we have this child from Ukraine. She's about 6 years old, according to her Ukrainian birth certificate, but she's going to go to a foster care in 24 hours. So you have 24 hours to decide if you want her or not."
And she has dwarfism.
Dwarfism,
And
yes.
Is it called devastated dwarfism, or it's something like that?
I don't remember the technical term.
Yeah.
But yes.
Yeah.
There's a lot of physical health complications with it,
It's
where
a
it
very
requires a lot of
severe.
surgeries.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Okay.
So they decide to take her in, closed adoption. They don't really know anything about her previous background in Ukraine or what happened necessarily.
And they claim that it's a closed adoption.
Right.
Mm.
Right. Which we find out later. That's
And a closed adoption would mean like they don't know even the names of the people that they adopted her from.
yes,
Mm.
because she did have previous adoptive parents within the U.S.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
she goes from the Ukraine to the U.S. and then basically gets returned by her
by the
current
adoptive parents.
Okay,
parents.
got it.
Mhm. Yeah,
Okay.
so they take her in and they're so excited and love at first sight until Christine decides to give her daughter a bath. And so she's giving her a bath upstairs, and suddenly she starts screaming. Yeah. And Michael runs up and he's like, oh my gosh, what is going on? And it just shows how freaking dramatic they are, because
so dramatic.
She was like, look down. And he looks down and they see pubic hair. Oh my God.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's
Not
crazy.
Pubic hair.
Yeah. And they're like, how can a 6-year-old have pubic hair? Which I really think it varies for everyone, honestly.
First off, I knew a girl that started her period at 6. It's possible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like, I mean, even then, even if you saw that, would you really freak out? Like, scream?
Right.
I think that's my thought process.
Traumatic.
Like, as a parent, you wouldn't want to put your child in a place of insecurity or making them feel like they're not.
She doesn't know what pubic hair is, you know?
Yeah, so it's like the fact that you're screaming is already like showing that like you're using it to already like somehow vocalize or use an outward expression of already a disapproval that you're having.
Right.
That might
use
be
it against
super,
her.
That might be me super reaching, because I do feel like with this certain case, and I said it to you guys before about how like, you know, Natalia is not the most aesthetically pleasing looking child that you would probably.
Well, not your typical child, right? Like she's got
yeah.
She's disabled. She's already like working against being normal, quote unquote.
So it's like you're kind of like struggling with these beauty standards that you're comparing this child against. And we're, you know, like, I'm not going to sit here and say that like, oh, like Natalia isn't beautiful. But what I'm saying is that we can't sit here and pretend that, especially in the United States, it's not there. And so I think that like without her really saying it, she's already knowing that like Natalia has some of these like issues that are also physically apparent. And on top of it, I think it's giving that person a little bit more leeway to like physically or not physically, vocally express this disapproval. And it's like seeing the pubic hair could possibly be like that outlet for her, like, you know what I mean? And it's just kind of like,
this is abnormal.
This is abnormal.
But it was already abnormal to begin with, and so you have to accept those conditions and realize that things are going to look different for her, but with hormonal changes and like everything is going to be different for Natalia compared to the average person.
It just makes me think like, I don't know if like, for instance, if like Lizzie got bit by a snake and like you like you got bit by a snake and like, you know, it was a very venomous snake and like the bite mark wasn't looking so good. Am I going to like panic and be like, oh my gosh, this looks horrible, like da 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 da, you know what I mean, and like get you freaked out about it?
Sure.
Or I'm gonna like more so be like, okay,
you're escalating the situation. Yeah.
It's, you know, we're gonna try to get you to the hospital as soon as possible. I'm not gonna freak out.
Right.
So I just like, I don't know if that was the best like analogy, but it's just kind of like, I don't know. You know?
Don't make a huge,
don't make a big situation of something that.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not a big deal, you know, even if she had pubic hair, which we don't really know, you know,
at
because
some point she's going to get it.
I'm sorry, go ahead.
Well, I mean, at some point she's going to get it anyway.
Right.
You know what I mean?
It's
not even anything that was like, oh, you're never supposed to get pubic hair. Right. How did you?
And she says like she can't remember, but so what? If I
think she remembered the bathtub scene.
Yeah.
Like, she says she remembers that Christine screaming and then them looking down at her.
But she just said like she didn't know what was going on.
But she probably didn't even know what pubic hair was.
She probably.
So
she was 6.
Yeah, exactly. And when you brought up the period earlier, the parents started claiming that she was hiding a period.
Yes, but then later on, that's kind of debunked.
And then because there is like a video clip of Natalia saying, "Oh, I was having a period and I'm hiding it" or whatever.
Which we kind of find out that she's fed these lines, and that's not necessarily what happened.
But at the time, like in the documentary, that's the clips you're getting. And it's like, okay, what else is she hiding?
Do we know that she actually had her period early, or was it just completely lie?
She says that Christine told her, "You're having your period, put in a tampon." She makes her put in a tampon at 6, and then she starts.
There's gonna be blood,
and then there's blood because I mean, who knows? Maybe she broke the hymen. I don't know.
Right.
Most likely at that young of age.
In my opinion, that's sexual abuse. You know,
I would say so.
I would say
force her.
I would say so.
Because I mean, I know your hymen can break naturally due to like physical sports or whatever is going on and stuff like that. But like for being so young, typically, like, sometimes you're not, even if you are in a sport
Right.
or whatever, it's not that intense for you to break it. Usually it's a little bit when you're a little bit older.
I mean, maybe TMI, but I didn't even put in a tampon until after I was sexually active. Like, it wasn't going to happen for me. Like, it was too small, basically.
Interesting.
Yeah, until my hymen broke. And so then I was able to do it. But it's definitely, it can definitely be an issue, you know?
Yeah, no, for sure. I remember, like, it's for most women, I would say putting in your first tampon is very uncomfortable.
It's
to begin
painful.
with.
Yeah.
So it's just kind of like,
Men
I
don't
can't
even
even
know.
imagine for a 6 or 5-year-old or whatever. Like,
That's
that's
traumatic.
wild.
Yeah.
It's so wild, especially if you don't know what you're doing. Because let me tell you, did not know at first the plastic part.
Oh no.
You didn't
Oh, no.
understand.
But I
what's
found
what.
out really quickly that it was supposed to come out with it.
Right. Yeah.
But it's just like, you don't know, you know what
You
I
don't
mean?
know what
And
you don't
especially
know.
when you're first time,
Yeah.
like, you don't want your mom to obviously do it for you. You want to
But I remember like reading the instructions. I was like, wait, what do you do?
Yeah.
You know?
See,
Yeah,
I was
you're
never an
smart.
instruction girly. I was like, all right.
I figured it out. I figured it out.
I was like, I'm trying to go to this pool party. Are you kidding me? Set up this pond.
Well, see, it
That
was,
was the only-
it was a
So you
pool
kept
party,
the whole
and
plastic thing in there?
Well, like, I found out, like, right when I was still in the bathroom.
Oh,
doing
thank
it.
Okay.
God.
Like,
Okay.
That's good.
Yeah. But
I was like, man,
this
that'd
doesn't
make it
feel
awkward.
okay.
Yeah.
And then I was just like, and then I think I
Yeah.
like reread it or something a
Okay.
little bit. And
No,
I,
I
was
went
like,
to a
okay.
pool party and I only put it in halfway.
That's fair.
I mean,
I get
it still
that.
plugs it in.
Because it
but-
is kind of wild, like, how far you got to put it in sometimes.
Yeah.
Because there's like, okay.
Have
let's
you
not get
ever
into it.
known anyone to lose it? I have.
No, I don't.
Yeah, she lost it and got an infection, and then they had to like go in there and get it.
What's that one line on
Yeah.
on Mean Girls?
You're laughing.
I don't like this lady, so
You're
I
like,
was kinda
ha.
That's that. I mean, you can't be mad if someone has a wide set vagina. It is what it is.
Oh, yeah. That's what she says.
Yeah,
Wide set
it's
vagina.
not my fault. I have a wide set vagina. and
It's
have
the
a
way
flow.
she says it. Vagina.
Yeah. But I mean, like, at the end of the day, what we're trying to say is, like, that is completely wild that she had Natalia try a tampon at
Right.
that young of an age. And then
Oh,
also,
yeah.
too, it's just like,
At this point, though, we don't really know because it's just presented like, oh, she was bleeding, and you know, she was.
Yeah. That
trying
means
to
she had a
hide-
period.
She was trying to hide having a period. She had
Right.
like bloody socks that she threw away.
Right.
This is
Even
what,
though her
Yeah.
feet were in pain and constantly bleeding.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
whatever.
This is just the information
What
that
do I know?
Michael is saying right
Yes.
now.
right,
Yes.
okay.
And so this is already raising a bunch of red flags on top of they start asking about her background, like what was it like
They're
at
like,
the
oh, you don't,
orphanage?
yeah,
Why
you don't even have an accent.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah. And I mean, she's 6 years old. Why would she have an accent? And she had previous adopted parents in the U.S.
She also has
she's
been in the US for a
longer
while.
than she's
Mhm.
been in Ukraine at this point.
Mhm.
So
And
why
I'm
would you
gonna throw
expect her to
this
have an
out there.
accent?
I think she was very smart and mature for her age.
I think so
Mhm.
too.
I
And they
think
were
so.
also threatened by that.
Yes.
Yeah.
I think that it's common. I think it's common for a 5 or 6-year-old to have an accent by then. But what I will say is, I think because of her history,
Mm-hmm.
like,
She was bounced
she was
around
bounced
a lot.
around so much, so
Right.
you're not able to, like, you have to be ingrained in a place for a while for you to pick
To
up it
know,
at that
right.
age.
And who
Yeah.
knows, like, how they sounded at the orphanage.
Right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean? We have
Mhm.
no idea. Maybe
A
they were,
mix.
yeah, maybe they, you know, come from different places.
Right.
And, you know,
Yeah.
there's a
We
mix.
just have no
Agreed.
idea, but they were definitely questioning
Yeah.
the lack of memory and the lack of accent. And then they invited over a friend who also had a child with the
Yeah.
same type
Disability.
of disability. Yes,
Yeah.
and she was also 6 years old, and they started comparing physical features.
And they're like,
Mhm.
the lady, the mother of the child that, you know, that they have like the play date with,
Mhm.
Yeah.
she's like, that girl's not the same age.
Right.
You know?
And then Michael
Yeah.
said, oh, Natalia, when she realized that we were looking at her differently, puffed out her cheeks to make herself look younger.
Yeah, she goes, because she was catching on to us. It's just a lot
Yeah.
of like, really?
Yeah, that's
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
They make her sound so evil.
But it kind of goes down to, like, what you were saying about, like, kids. They're not dumb at the same time.
Mhm.
Like, they can tell when you don't like
they can
them or you're
feel it.
disapproving or
Right,
whatever, and so
right.
they try to, like, do certain things sometimes
they're not
happy.
stupid.
to make.
Yeah.
They're not stupid. They're
They
so
catch on a
they're
lot more
sponges. They
than what
soak
you
up
think.
stuff that you
Yeah.
think. Yeah.
Mhm.
So I think that, like, I don't know. I think there's a lot of things that you guys are saying about this documentary that personally, as a parent, you know, I think it's like they just were starting to get like this narrative that like, no, like we have a narrative that we want to prove, and this is what we're gonna do,
It's
regardless
confirmation
of like
bias.
like
Right.
whatever it is, we're gonna try to make it steer this way.
Well, I think because Christine was so successful in raising her son Jacob,
Yeah.
she thought it was a cookie cutter method to also be able
Like,
to do
I've got
the
the
same for-
secret to
Yeah.
make a genius.
the secret method. And when
Yeah.
Natalia couldn't live up to those expectations, she started
This is a faulty
projecting
child.
her own insecurities of being a successful parent,
Yeah.
and started retaliating on her. It's her fault. Like,
Yeah.
she's the problem, not
Right.
me.
Yeah.
And then they start.
Then they start accusing her of some wild stuff.
Well, yeah, they start claiming that she was having serious, violent, dangerous behavioral issues, which I'm not totally. I don't believe they're
think
lying completely.
I think she acted out
Yes,
because she's
for
been
sure.
through a lot.
yeah,
I
and it's
think-
quite common for
Yes.
adopted children to have some behavioral issues because
Do
of
I think
their
she tried to kill
background.
them? No.
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 Yeah.
But yeah, the concerns were knife threats. Apparently, she started hiding knives
Under her
which,
bed.
When you find out more of the environment later on and how they
Yeah.
were treating her, I might want to hide a knife in my bedroom.
I agree.
Too,
Yeah, I
but,
know.
Mhm.
You know,
It's not you
But
don't feel
also-
safe, and especially if you
Right.
like whatever she may have saw on TV or whatever and stuff like that. Like maybe she was like,
We don't
okay,
know
like
what all she's been
I gotta grab a
exposed to.
knife
Yeah.
because like at the same time, like you can tell someone doesn't like you. And
Right.
so
Well-
if someone doesn't like me, then how long am I gonna last around here?
And it is a very manipulative household. Like, and it is not safe. So,
No.
like, for her to want to protect herself,
and yeah.
I wouldn't blame her.
Yeah.
But it's just wild to me that they don't take responsibility for that and be like, what can we do to help her
Why
feel more
does my
safe?
kid
Instead,
want
it was
to
like,
kill
oh my
me?
God,
Yeah.
she's trying to kill us.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah,
know.
Well, and then they
Yes.
compare her to the movie Orphan.
Mhm.
Like,
Yeah.
oh, she's got a demon in her. You know,
Yeah.
she's psycho.
Yeah, started telling the neighbors about it, which kind of isolated Natalia
Very
from
much
having
so.
friends within
Yeah.
the community.
She
and
had
stuff.
friends, and then they quit hanging out with her.
Yeah, they pulled her
Yeah.
out of school because
Yeah,
they said she was
isolating
having
her.
behavioral issues at school, and
Yeah, and she only got a first grade education.
yeah,
That's so sad.
and it's so sad because like teachers later on in the documentary say like, oh, she was the sweetest.
She was great. She was a
Mhm.
delight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's just really sad. But
Yeah.
they did say also some of the behavioral concerns. She urinated and defecated a lot in places that she shouldn't. So I don't know if it was like a potty training issue.
But they also, come to find out Christine would make her stand for hours and hours and hours.
and she would, yeah,
and she would
defecate on herself because she
yeah.
didn't have a choice because she wasn't allowed to move.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. And then she also threw herself for moving vehicles, which why? I don't know.
I don't believe
but
that at all.
I'm not sure.
Was there
Again, it's a
any-
lot of hearsay. So
Was there any like bruises or like any confirmation of like when she got thrown out of the vehicle, or was that
No.
just like, oh, she threw herself out of the vehicle and
Yeah.
it's just like,
Yeah,
okay.
it's just their word
like,
against
a little
hers.
6-year-old had to unbuckle herself and then be strong enough to pry open a door.
They just act like she's really
Did
manipulative.
they have her in a car seat?
Probably. Well, I don't know.
I don't
What's a typical age for?
It's
I'm not a
like-
mom. I don't know.
I think it's like, honestly, I think it's almost up to 10 or something
For a
like
car
that.
seat?
For-
Yeah, well,
yeah,
and then you have a
for
booster
kid.
seat
Yeah, like
for a
booster-
while.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
so
yeah,
the
yeah.
upgrades and stuff like
Well,
that.
and-
But
but
like,
still.
she has dwarfism, so she might always need one. I
Yeah.
have no idea.
Yeah.
so
that's a
the
good
likelihood of her like just getting out of like a car seat and all of that or whatever is just like crazy, unless they just didn't put her in one
Right.
or have
And also,
anything with
she
her.
has trouble walking.
She has
You
even
know?
trouble
Right.
grabbing onto things.
So
Right.
why would she
completely. So
logically
how
be
would
like, I'm going to throw myself out of this
Yeah,
car?
and how are
Yeah.
you getting outsmarted by someone that's very short,
Yeah.
and has issues, moving from one place to another?
Right.
Yeah.
It
Right.
just makes me think, like with the whole knife situation, I'm like, move the
Yeah.
knives.
Uh-huh.
2 plus
Make
2
them
is not
higher.
equaling 4 in this situation. I think that like I don't know what it was, but it seems like they very much.
I think they found out, in my opinion, Christine found out this child's not going to make me money.
Mhm.
I'm not going to be able to write another book or make her a genius, so I don't want her.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
agree. And then try to make it sound like
She's trying to kill him.
it's not me,
Right.
like you said.
Yeah.
It's the
It's a her.
child.
She's a monster.
Like if I can't parent her, nobody
Nobody can.
can. And so therefore, like,
Well, she
has
wanted to keep
go.
her image
Yeah.
of like, I'm this amazing
Right.
mother.
Mhm.
I created this book and I have a
So true.
genius child. And yeah, it like you said, it's not me, it's her.
Right.
Yeah, yeah,
Which
yeah.
is, I just find that so funny because she's not even a professional.
No.
She has no licensing, no degree in anything. She started an at-home daycare in a garage.
She's not anyone, but she
yeah.
thinks she
I
is.
hate
Yeah,
to
It's
say
the
it.
narcissism.
Gotta keep it that way.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe, I don't know, maybe people will come after me for that, but it very much gives the Karen mentality. Karens. Okay. Like, you have a lot of Karens out there, and obviously I'm not going towards like people that are legitimately called Karen. I'm talking about the persona of Karen.
Yeah, we're sorry for you.
And we're sorry, but like it's just this mentality that like we've seen in like the last decade, where it's just like, and most likely it's white women who all of a sudden they just like go on this tangent of like being the police, being the authority, being whatever it is,
Fully knowledgeable.
of like the all knowledgeable, all encompassing person, where it's like, okay, this is how it's gonna go, and everybody needs to fall in line and follow suit, and I'm the victim, and everybody needs to like, you know, feel bad for me or whatever, but they have no licensing, they have no credentials, no authority, no anything really to support it. But it's just like, if they're struggling or if they're angry about something,
right,
then they want everybody to join them, and
say
they want
there's
everybody...
an air of privilege, like she thinks, you know, also, you know, maybe race plays into it, being white, you know, you have the white privilege already going into it, but she's gotten money from this deal, she's seeing that it's working, so she thinks like somehow it's all about her, when I would argue her son is just brilliant. Period.
Yeah.
You know,
absolutely.
It really wasn't something that she
did.
Yeah.
He had that there to begin with.
Huh?
Don't be bad. It's just your pups.
Your
Oh my
doggies
God.
are barking.
He just barks so loud.
Yeah.
And it's probably
Little
just
Griffin.
people walking down the street. And
Bex has a horse
Pretty
that
much.
she says is a dog.
Yeah. Yeah, you guys, maybe one day she'll like have you guys see her pups, but
Yeah.
they're
so
cute. But she has a horse as one of her dogs.
Insert picture
loud.
here.
Yes.
Yeah, honestly. Like when he stands up on all of his hind legs.
I know,
Oh
he's
my
taller than my
gosh.
husband.
I'm like,
Yeah.
ugh.
Yeah.
wild.
It's crazy.
I love
But-
Great Danes though. Like
They're chill.
they're
He's
so
very chill.
Yes.
they're one of the coolest dogs.
Now Goose, not so chill. But
Not so chill, but I
No.
love him. I
He's a
love
little
him anyway.
potato.
Yeah.
My little potato
Baked
pit bull.
potato.
Mhm.
But no, so like ultimately I just think that like it's a very notable point of you saying that like she's not a professional in any sense, or like
Right.
a
she thinks she
specialist
is.
of
Yeah.
any kind in the working with like children with disability or anything.
Right.
But it's just giving off like, everybody listen to me, like I'm the
I know
one
what I'm
that
doing.
I know what I'm
Yeah,
doing, and like
I'm the
just trust me on
authority here.
this. She's
Right.
she's the devil's child, and it's just like, girl, stop.
She's an impossible monster. Like,
Yeah.
no one can work with her. Yeah,
Right.
she's got to go. And so
she
another
must not
story,
be her age, too.
Right.
That's a big thing.
that was a big narrative they were pushing, and to show how much of a monster she was, they just started sharing like these wild stories of her behavior and how they were trying to harm them. And then so Christine next kind of concocts
We're
a
in
story.
danger.
Exactly.
Our whole family's in danger.
Exactly. So Christine concocts a story that Natalia poured bleach into her coffee while helping clean the kitchen. So Christine left the room for 1
Or
minute.
it's like pledge.
And came back, and
Yeah.
there was pledge in her coffee. And so she started screaming at Natalia, and then made Natalia, somehow had Natalia confess that she was trying to kill her.
Well, and also later we find out that she like makes her pour it in her coffee while she films it.
Yeah.
So
That's
While
so
she
weird.
films it,
yes. Yeah, like she
she actually saw
Reenact
her.
Christine has her do it. Well, this is according to Natalia, but Christine like has her camera and says pour it in there.
Oh, I forgot
That's
that part.
weird.
So
That's wild.
yeah,
I don't
like
even remember that.
She's collecting her proof of see I'm right, you know.
Yeah, she did film Natalia a lot. You see so many clips during
did.
this period of time, which is so weird to constantly film your child.
Yeah, and like at some point
Like
she's
that.
reading the Bible and she's like, "Why are you reading the Bible?" And she said, "Well, what did she say? Something like to
The Bible to get
get
rid
the-
of evil thoughts.
okay."
You
Get
know
rid of
what?
evil
That's so
thoughts.
sad, because as somebody as a Christian, I just like, I feel like that part is just like, it doesn't make any sense to me for you to say that to a child. And I only can imagine that there's perhaps a certain point where like the child starts to believe that maybe there is something wrong with me.
Oh, yeah,
So maybe
absolutely.
maybe I'll pick up the Bible so I can get help
I
with
just
it,
stop being
without
wanna
even
get
knowing
better.
fully. Like maybe she doesn't even fully know about the Bible. She doesn't even know, but
Right.
she's just doing it because maybe she heard it
Right.
from
And
somebody
she
else or
is
whatever.
able to read at this point, it seems like. Not like chapter books. Her teacher says like she wasn't like crazy above her grade, but she is able to
on
read.
par.
And they're trying to say like, oh, because she can read at 6, she must be older.
Yeah.
No.
But I mean, I'm here to tell you, and most people would think I'm lying. My brother could read it too.
No, I believe
I was
you.
reading it too.
Yeah.
I might not have
Wild.
been able to tell time. Maybe at that point, but I could read.
Yeah.
My mom had us reading at a very young age as well. I don't think it was 2, but it was really young. Like one of the books we were reading was like Little House on the Prairie and like all that type of stuff. Yeah.
I'm
So it's just,
dyslexic,
like,
so it took me a while, and my parents were probably like, "Oh, the second one's broken. Like, what's going on?"
No.
But you know, it really just depends on the
yeah,
kid.
it just depends.
Yeah.
But it's not out of nowhere that Natalia would be like trying to read the Bible or anything like that. And it's very like weird behavior for her to chastise her with the camera and recorder, as if it's just kind of like, oh, like look at you trying to read the Bible.
Trying to prove
if you really
points.
cared, if she really cared, and if you're the owner of the Bible, why wouldn't you just sit there and actually read it with her? If you truly felt like she was possessed,
I was gonna say, wouldn't you be encouraged? Like, that's good.
That's weird.
Let's read a chapter together.
So right then and there, like from my perspective, I'm just like, no, like I call bull. Like that's BS on you for you to like be a hypocrite.
Right.
So I don't know.
And those stories just keep planning out these different scenarios, and eventually they make it public. But I think at this point in time, they start taking her to multiple therapists, and I feel like they were just taking her to different ones because they wanted to hear a different answer than they were giving.
They wanted a professional to say what they
like. She is a monster.
Like
and they
setting
got that.
up the narrative that they wanted.
Right. And so finally the 4th therapist diagnosed her as a sociopath.
Which that takes a long time to actually get a diagnosis like that. Not just one appointment. Let's be honest. You know, there's years of having to observe that person before you can just be like, oh, they're a sociopath.
Right. It would have been really interesting to see what those sessions looks like and how many sessions actually happened.
I agree with that fully on, because I think that like for you to just walk in and be like, can I get an assessment of being a sociopath?
Right.
Now I could be wrong, and I would love it actually if somebody was a licensed psychiatrist or psychological therapist that would come in and comment and say like this is actually the process. But from what I'm familiar with, it's a little bit longer than just one session, done session or anything like that, because
you have to get to know the person before you can make that assessment.
Their reputation is on the line for them to put out, because if they ever have to go on the stand or like whatever, even though like there's HIPAA, but like sometimes they have to go on the stand to be a witness.
Psychopath,
they don't want
or
their assessments to be just off of like the rip,
Right.
They want it to actually have validity and sound proof of this is why I diagnosed this person as X, Y, and Z. So I don't know. I think that like they like both you guys were saying the fact that they were just searching for someone to support their narrative. Because I guarantee you, if even for ABA therapists out there, if somebody if they went to applied behavioral analysis, they would have been told probably like, yeah, well, she has disabilities. She is agitated probably because she's in pain of like, her walking.
Isn't that early too to diagnose for
age 6?
Yeah, at age 6.
Yeah, it's kind of wild.
What, sociopath?
A sociopath?
I have no idea.
I mean, their personalities are still forming.
Right.
That there's so much.
I mean, she might have tendencies, like that's possible.
Yeah.
And I've heard of tendencies early on, like killing animals and stuff like that. But to make a full-on diagnosis at that point,
early of a stage,
right? After she's been through a lot of trauma, she's adopted.
Right.
There could be like a wording of like pre or like something where it's like
that I would understand more than
this
like,
person
that's a sociopath.
is has maybe something where it's like saying that like are showing pre-symptoms of having this later on or something. I could see that. I don't really know when it comes down to like if there can be a full diagnosis. Part of me wants to say yes, just because like I'm sure that there's just been wild cases over time where, like they have to diagnose this. They have to like put some sort of like boundaries around the behavior.
Right.
Especially if it's hitting the mark like so well. Because you hear of like 10-year-olds or like whatever that like do heinous crimes and they get locked away or whatever.
Yeah. I'm not going to sit here and say
I don't know.
It couldn't be possible. It just seems like
very unlikely.
Very unlikely and rash.
Moving on to Natalia's terrible behavior. There's some more events that took place.
I don't doubt that she doesn't have trauma and she probably is acting out.
Yeah, but not to the extent.
To what degree?
Right. So the next, they decide to take it public. Like, other people got to see how terrible she is, right?
Mm-hmm.
Right.
So for one of their sons, I think it was their youngest son, Ethan, his 6-year-old birthday party,
Yeah.
they decide to take him out to a farm where he can go like milk cows.
Yeah.
Because he loved cows. Because at that age, like,
Who
kids
doesn't?
love
Farm
random
animals.
Farm animals.
Yeah.
Right. So they go out to this creamery, and Michael walks on ahead with all the boys, and Natalia is kind of hanging back because her feet are hurting.
Mm-hmm.
And Christine said she just started throwing a fit. And Christine said, "You go on ahead because I don't want to ruin Ethan's birthday.
And at this
I'm going to stay
point,
back with Natalia."
She has severe, like her feet aren't made the same way as ours. She
Right.
doesn't have like her shoes that she needs. She doesn't have a walker. You know,
Right.
they're making her walk all these miles.
Right.
And she's getting blisters on her feet.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Dang.
And
yeah, that's
oh, I
rough.
forgot to mention before they started the creamery tour or whatever it was, they had to sign a what was the name?
Waiver.
The waiver, because there was an electric fence and they just had to be made aware of it and all of this.
If
And
you
Michael,
touch it, you could get hurt. And
Yeah.
that's it.
and
Yeah.
when Michael was talking about this in the documentary, he goes, Natalia's eyes just lit up when she heard there was an
She
electric
started
fence.
smiling.
Just making her
that's weird.
sound devious.
Yeah.
Very, yeah.
Yeah. So Christine hangs back with her, and Michael goes on with the kids. And then he says, and there's multiple retellings of this story during the documentary, but at this point in time, he said, "Yeah, suddenly I heard yelling and I turn around and I see them wrestling with each other." And Christine says,
Natalia's
"No."
pulling her Christine down.
Yeah.
You know?
And Christine just says, "No, you go ahead." So Michael keeps on walking, and then he hears sirens, and he thinks that his wife is dead.
He's like, I immediately thought she was dead.
And so, yeah,
He's so
we
dramatic.
turn
He
around.
wanted her to be dead. This is what it sounds like. Dang.
Ran back, and there's an ambulance there. There's police officers, and Natalia's telling the cops she wanted to kill Christine, and Christine was saying, "Yeah, she tried to drag me into the electric fence." No charges were pressed.
But come to find out later on, they're like, yeah, the little girl seemed calm.
Yes.
And the mother was hysterical. Like, I
Yes.
felt bad for the child having to deal with the parent.
Right.
Didn't you
the
like tell me
employee
too
said
that like the electrical fence was never on?
Yeah,
it was
so
never
the
on.
owner comes forward in the documentary of the creamery, and he said, "Yeah, so the electric fence wasn't even on that day."
Like, they weren't in danger.
I mean, granted, like if you didn't know that, you're still like treated as caution because it's just like if you
But
didn't
also,
know that. But
here's
I
the
get
thing:
it.
even if you had a child that was pissed off at you,
Mhm.
wouldn't you just stay away from the fence?
Yeah,
Right.
You know?
but also too,
She
come
really
on.
gonna take you?
she really gonna take
Is
you
she
to the
really
fence.
gonna take you?
Like that girl is not going to drag you over to that
No.
fence. Like I know good and well, Christine. Come on now, Christine.
Yeah, they were
Like-
saying
You're a
that she had
full adult.
superhuman strength. Michael said, "Oh yeah," he compared her strength to Arnold
Schwarzenegger. Like,
yeah.
oh, she had guns. Like, she was strong. And I'm
Uh-huh.
like,
No,
Dude.
stop.
Yeah,
she's 6.
Like I
and
I'll-
disabled.
I'll
And
get it. Like
disabled.
there are kids that like they have some strength to them for sure, but it's just like
Not
if
like
you
that.
felt like you're gonna
Maybe
die.
as a teenager, you know?
Yeah, like as a teenager. But if you felt like you were in serious danger, you're gonna die. Like nah.
Maybe don't go to a
like,
creamery with,
Yeah.
you know,
Oh,
an
like-
electric
Yeah,
fence.
maybe the first minute when you saw that there was like an electrical fence and a waiver that needed to be signed, like you know what, let's pack it up.
Today's
maybe
not
not.
the day.
Maybe yeah,
Mhm.
maybe we just go to like a bounce house or
Right.
something.
Right.
Let's
right.
avoid
With, like-
weapons.
yeah, exactly.
So no charges were pressed, but Natalia at this point was sent to a psychiatric facility for evaluation, and she was kept there for
Well, they
a
tried to
little while.
like arrest her. They're like, "Oh, she's trying to kill me," you know, lock her up.
Yeah, but
And they took her for, you know.
man,
just-
they really wanted to just lock this
Yeah.
child up like
Yeah.
a grown
So
adult.
This is their plan, and at this point, they've got to take it public. So this is
Right.
their
and they
Initiative.
Christine, especially. This is her, first attempt
Getting rid of her.
Get rid of her.
Yeah, and so they are hoping to keep her in the psychiatric facility. However, the facility gives Michael a call and asks him to come pick up his child because apparently, this is what they said,
This is allegedly.
they were
yeah.
acting provocative. She was acting provocatively towards the male patients at the psychiatric facility.
Which I have to say, if that happened, where'd she learn it? You know.
Yeah, one, where did she learn it? But two, what they were accusing her of
was
That
saying,
doesn't make
I want a
sense.
boyfriend.
Right. Who
But
doesn't say that
make
at 6 years
sense.
old?
You
Yeah.
wouldn't call someone from a psychiatric ward and say, come pick her
She's
up
acting
because
out.
she's acting out and having. That's why I sent you there.
Yeah.
So I think that
Isn't
they
everyone
fully
acting
lied.
out in there?
Right.
I think that
It's a
they
psych
fully
ward.
lied. I
Right.
think that
It's to
that
be
wasn't the
expected.
reason why they called and told her to do. I think that they called them and said, you know what? Listen, we've evaluated her and she's been here for a while, and
Well, they did say
she
nothing
doesn't
was
need
wrong
to be
with her.
here. So
Yeah.
you need to come and pick her up. That's why they called,
Yeah.
and that's why they had to go pick her up.
Another point, why
Mhm.
did they have a child surrounded
Interacting
by male
with male
patients?
nurses.
Don't they
Yeah.
have separate
Right.
don't they separate them? Like, I don't know how it fully
Well,
works.
the reality is because they didn't. They made the whole thing up.
Right, right,
I,
right.
that's what I truly believe they made the whole thing up.
right.
I mean, and they had money to do that.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. Yeah.
So it makes you wonder.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And at this point, CPS reports begin because there's huge fights happening between Michael and Christine over Natalia. They threw Natalia out of the house at one point and kicked her out of her bedroom because she lost
Well,
the
they
right.
kicked her outside of the house
Yeah,
and
and
made
so
her sit there.
neighbors overheard, and that's when CPS started getting involved. And then there was a detective that got into the case, Detective Davenport. And from
Davenport.
what Michael suggests, he was on their side and said, yeah, Natalia is totally faking her age. There's a problem with her Ukrainian birth certificate, because he was
But-
implying that, I mean, it's a common fear and a common issue
It
with
is a common issue that when you
adoptions from abroad, that they
Yes.
do change the birth certificate sometimes.
to make it more
appealing.
like make you more adoptable or
Exactly.
more wanted. They
Yeah.
try.
His parents want younger.
They sometimes age you younger
Yes.
than what you are.
Yeah.
It's usually by a couple years. It's not like
Yeah.
an adult to a child.
Right.
That is typical. So that's
Right.
something to consider.
Yeah.
Right. And so he apparently, apparently the detective recommends to the Barnetts that they need to re-age Natalia legally and change the birth year from 2003 to 1989.
But in
crazy.
documents, it never says that.
It never says that.
He
And
said that he thought she was a child.
yes, well, so the producers tried to reach out and they found out that Davenport has passed away.
Right.
But
can't
they
ask
were
him in
able to
person.
find an email thread where with the case, he had sent an email to an attorney or something.
And he stated that
And
she
he's-
was a child.
Yeah, he stated that, yep, he considered her a child during
Mm-hmm.
the investigation. So everything that Michael is saying
Was a
is
lie.
actually
So on
true.
the Michael
Yeah.
show,
Yeah. Everything's different.
Well, I mean, I
Yeah.
think like the game that they played was pretty, like, I wouldn't say it's smart, but it's kind of like, unless there's people that want to stand up and like take the stand, you really can get away with a lot of saying just whatever.
right.
Because
Right.
if no one else is really gonna like stand up and say like, no, actually you're wrong, I was there and this is the time and this is the date
and
and this
no
is the
one
evidence.
really stood up and protected her.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
the end of the day, I think that's what to me is so shocking, that they actually had it done legally.
Mhm.
You know,
Yeah.
that it was able to
Mhm.
pass through with zero evidence
Mhm.
that they were correct.
Well, because I also feel like if you're someone is coming up to you and saying like, hey, this child is this age actually and this and that and the other, and even if you disagree, maybe like this other stuff that they're saying you're still not sure about.
Mhm.
Maybe you only got 1% of their story to be like false and be like, okay, like, no, I think that this is his actual child, but maybe they are telling the truth, the fact that like she's having horrible behavior, trying to kill them, trying to da. So it's like, do you have enough gumption? Do you have enough boldness to just be like, no, everything they're saying is actually 100% wrong and
Right.
false?
Right.
Or is it just like that small part where it's just like, oh, okay, she's not an adult, but
I just wish I get what you're saying, but like I just
Yeah.
wish that at some point they would look at the child and be like, is this really accurate?
yeah, I know.
You know?
Like,
Yeah.
do further more investigation. I
Yeah.
think that
Just
they were
keep-
hopping around so
Yeah.
many times to different people. No
Mhm.
one really had.
No one talked to
And
Natalia.
And they were
Yeah.
using their influence and probably money
Yeah,
to get professionals
At that
to
point in
agree
time?
with them.
I agree. Yeah,
Absolutely. Yeah.
And we know it was strategic
money talks.
how old they age her, because at 21 she would be a dependent towards them, and then they just skipping forward, they age her at 22
Yeah,
so that
yeah,
they're
yeah.
not responsible
Yeah.
for her
Yeah.
anymore.
Just
So it's very
it's
pointed.
devious. Yes.
Yes.
Yes, very much so. And at this point, before they're officially re-aging her, they're looking for support outside of just
like
the
medical
police
support.
like they want witnesses to Natalia's behavior, and they want people to support their narrative of her actually being an adult. So they try to reach out to previous adoptive parents, which the agency didn't provide that information, but they were able to find a luggage
this
tag.
is what they say.
Yes.
They say that it was a closed adoption and they didn't know the people.
Yeah, but they actually had the previous contact information to the adoptive parents on a luggage tag on Natalia's backpack or something.
Right.
So then they start reaching out on Facebook Messenger to previous adoptive parents, trying to like sell the story. She's terrible. Did you have this experience? Just
They
trying to
want
get
them
people
to
on their
agree
side.
with her,
Yeah.
And
or
they
with them.
didn't. A lot of people did not buy their story, or they were like, "You're being ridiculous."
And come to find
She's
out,
a
Natalia
child.
said that the previous parents met the new parents.
Yes.
It was not a closed adoption.
Mm-hmm. So I don't know why Michael tries to cover that
and
so much. It doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and he keeps lying throughout it. It's
Mhm.
like, do you just feel obligated to stick with this lie at this point?
Probably. I mean, you
Yeah.
dig so deep that like it will look foolish of you to like, I guess, like come on and be like, sorry, y'all.
Because he refuses to admit that the whole time.
And the previous adoptive families they did find, which a lot of them were little people actually, which would have been such a better environment for Natalia. I think she would have been
had
better
potential
supported.
other parents that were
Yes.
interested in her, and the adoption just didn't go
fall
through.
through
Yeah.
for weird reasons.
Huh.
Like the previous adoptive parents were almost just as shady as the Barnetts. Like they were hiding something. It was weird interactions. They tried to make these potential adoptive parents pay more for
For her,
Maybe that's what
Yeah.
it was. They were just looking for the people that was going to pay the highest dollar for it. And the
Exactly.
Burnett's were like, oh,
Yeah.
well, we'll pay because eventually, like,
right.
they're going to get some sort of, like, credit, like, you know,
They
image.
asked at some point that when you adopt her, you pay old surgeries, like old medical bills, which you can't do.
Yeah,
You
that's
can't be
weird.
like, I'm gonna back pay you.
Yeah.
Right.
You take this child.
Well, it's also kind of like, were you not, did you not pay for them?
right. You're
Right.
Are you-
responsible
yeah,
for that.
Because part of me is just kind of like, so you're telling me that you have, like, bills that you're not paying for that she took?
Yeah, I'm not gonna pay your
I
old
don't know.
bills.
Right.
You know?
Yeah, like,
right.
you handle that. That's on you.
If
Uh-huh.
I'm adopting a child, you can't back pay me.
Yeah.
That's not how that
Yeah,
works.
that's like not saying that she's like anywhere near an animal, but it's like going to an adoption for a dog and also
And
being
say,
like,
"You have to
oh, I
pay
can't
my
adopt.
vet
Like, oh,
bills."
well, listen here, this dog has
Right.
gone through so many things, and you got like I don't know $50,000 to pay for, and
I
it's just
mean,
like
yeah,
what?
it just
No
that
one's
doesn't
gonna do
add up.
that.
No one's gonna do that.
No.
No, exactly.
No. And so when they finally re-age her to 22, which I still, it just
Wild.
baffles me that
Yeah.
that
She's
actually
obviously
happened.
a child.
Yeah.
Like
but
you look at her and
Yeah.
maybe
she-
she's not 6, maybe she's 7 or 8. You know, you could
Yeah.
argue that, but she is a child.
Yeah.
She's
Yeah,
not
she's not
22.
22.
What's
Yeah.
so sad is that she didn't even know she was being re-aged. It was
No one
when she
told
was
her.
in the
Aw.
psychiatric facility. So she walks into the facility, a child, and comes out an adult.
No,
And they
geez.
didn't they
Yeah.
switch her from the child side of the institution to the adult side?
Yeah, because it had happened while she was in
Right.
the facility. Yeah, she
Uh-huh.
said that she shares later on in the documentary it was a really traumatic experience.
yeah,
I
it
would imagine
be.
so.
Yeah.
She didn't
You
know
put
what was
me
going
in,
on.
You put me in there, and it would be a traumatic experience,
Right?
And I'm a full on adult. I'm 32.
This
I don't want to
wild.
go over. I mean, there's some stuff that goes down there.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's not pretty.
No.
So
It's very traumatic.
You got
Yeah.
you got some real life things going down for people. Like she has a disability, but it's not mentally.
yeah.
And then when she comes out, right, is that when they tell her that she's going to get her own apartment?
Yep. And so this was in 2013. After re-aging, the Barnetts leave Natalia to live alone. And so they find a place in Westfield, I think was the first neighborhood.
If we're going
which-
off of her adoptive age, how old was that make her?
22.
Oh,
No,
yeah,
the
but
adoptive age,
her
she
real
was.
age.
I'm sorry, her actual
I think
age.
she was maybe 8
Yeah.
at this point.
like 7 or
yeah,
8.
7
yeah.
or 8. Mm-hmm. So
Wow.
after, officially raging
Whew.
her.
Yeah, I think
They
the
get
first
an
apartment she was
apartment.
7, and the second one she was 8, turning 9.
Yes,
Yeah,
I think
okay.
so. So the first one was a Westfield unit, and they just, I mean, she didn't even have the proper equipment for her disability. They
Right.
they left her with
Even if she was an adult, let's say.
She wasn't
like,
provided the
dang.
resources to support herself.
She couldn't even,
she's
like,
still disabled.
Yeah, she couldn't even like reach the cabinet. She couldn't like turn on the water, you know, like just little basic things.
Because it's like at this point, it's like, okay, so you got your, you know, the Burnett's got their wish and they're able to finally approve her.
They're gonna get rid of
the
her.
20-something-year-old. But it's just like you still adopted her and you're still her parent and you're still responsible.
But
like, what parent? Let's be real though. Let's be real.
Let's
yes,
do
we
it.
all say 18's the age. 18's the age. When you turn 18,
is it really?
Then Listen, your child is always going to need you. I don't care what you want to hear, what makes you feel better. It's a lifetime commitment.
Yeah.
When I moved out, I'm not even going to go to the back of the class. Even now, my mom, when she hears that we're like moving or she be trying to like come to see the new place. She wants to go to Home Goods. She wants to go to Walmart, get you some groceries. Right. She wants to be doing all the things up in the business, all of that. And I love it because it says that she cares and she still loves us. No matter how old we are, she's still something to support. So the fact that like the Burnetts were just like, bye. Listen, girl, bye. Didn't want you to begin with. You know, don't want you now.
That's exactly the vibes they're
leaving
giving.
you here. So I hope you don't die. But if you do,
sorry about it.
Don't reach out because we probably won't answer the phone anyway.
Right.
It's just like crazy to me because at this point in time, it's like, what's the point of you even getting to the point of like dropping her off at the airport or not the airport, the apartment?
Well, and
might as well have dropped
she
her off
says
at an
like,
airport.
why did you adopt me? Why didn't you just give me over to someone else? Like, why did you re-age me? Just give me to someone else. You know, I would have had a better chance.
That would be an admittance to failure.
Exactly.
It would have been. But then at the same time, it's just like, it just very much shows how selfish they are because at the end of the day, like, they were only thinking about themselves.
Absolutely.
To the very end of it. Because it's just like, even if she was actually 20-something years old, we're talking about the well-being of somebody.
Right.
And making sure that
they still didn't set her up for success, even if she was 22.
I know. That's what I'm saying. Like, you just
they
didn't care.
No.
Like, honestly, like, shoot, if you're homeless, Burnett's not going to help you out.
Hell no. Hell no.
You don't put your hand
Good
out
luck.
if their car pulls up at the red stoplight because they definitely not gonna give you no money, no food, no water. They're not even gonna look at you.
And they like give her groceries once or twice, but it's usually when they think they're in trouble, like someone's investigating.
Right. Well, so I think it's called DCS.
DCS.
Yes. Those cases reopened because her new neighbors were getting concerned because she had poor hygiene. She was constantly loitering around their houses. She'd come up and ask for a sandwich.
She was being socially awkward, which when you're a child, you don't know better.
Was a sandwich.
Yeah, she was hungry.
She was going. She started as she got more bold with them. She started actually going in their house
without asking.
It was a community that really didn't keep their doors locked, and she would just go in there and start helping herself.
And everyone's like, "Oh, it was basically awful. Like we had this awkward neighbor, and we didn't know what to do with her."
Right. So they started calling DCS.
But they didn't realize she's a child.
Yeah, they didn't because she was going up and telling them, I'm 22.
Because
so they didn't know what to think.
That's what the Barnetts told her to say.
And there were a lot of neighbors who were like, she's terrible. And there were other neighbors who felt sorry for her. But either way.
Can I just say that grandma, the old lady, her neighbor was a bitch.
Well, she just discriminated because she was like, basically like the Barnetts. She couldn't accept the fact that she looks different. So it's like, well, you're a monster.
Right.
Yeah. And I feel like a lot of people do that.
And she was like, she was sexually promiscuous with that old guy. And I'm thinking, why aren't you blaming the old guy for being creepy?
Creepy
being around her, allowing her into her home for 2 to 3 hours because she didn't know she didn't know who she should and should not see. She didn't know
lonely.
Wait, so she gets sexually essayed while she was at
she's
part-time?
lucky.
Almost.
She said that she had a close call, but basically she wandered into this guy's house to say hi, and he let her in, and he was watching porn.
And he was like,
oh, you can watch it with me. It's okay.
Different stages of undress, and who knows what he did. You know?
And so at that point, she felt uncomfortable and left.
She asked to leave, and he let her go, thankfully. But it could have been so much worse.
Yeah, but the neighbors didn't know it to that extent. I think they all just said, oh, yeah, she went over to this guy's house for a
she's
few
a
hours.
whore. They blamed her.
Yeah, I think that's a really hard one because I feel like if I was someone's neighbor, there's a happy medium. because it's like when you're someone's neighbor, you don't want to be all up in their business. But then at the same time, you do want to show compassion when you see somebody struggling. And so like, even if like she looks like a child, but she's saying that she's 22 years old, part of me is like, yeah, you do have to like just take it for what it is at that point in time. However, for me as a person, if I knew that there was a neighbor who was stopping by asking for sandwiches,
maybe
like
help them out,
trying to figure, I would definitely get to the point. I wouldn't call it nosy. I would just be like, okay, there's something going on here. I need to know what's going on. So I would start asking her questions and figuring out like, okay, what's going on? Why don't you have food? Why are you looking for a sandwich? Like, why aren't you cleaning up yourself? And then you would be able to gauge where her like intellect is, whether it's like, is there a mental disability here, or is this like an age thing, or whatever it is. I feel like you would be able to tell.
And that's what I was gonna say, is even if she was 22, she obviously needs help
regardless.
Regardless. Maybe her, you know, it's so hard to say because she is a child, and that's what makes all the sense. That's what
it does.
That's what explains everything that she does. But like, let's just say
you don't
as
know
a
her,
neighbor,
and you're a neighbor, and you're just like
know.
trying to figure it out.
But you still would
have
want to call authorities of sorts and say she's struggling. You know, like her caregivers left her. She's doing these odd things like stealing sandwiches. I think she needs help.
I feel like it would just been like an array of questions, I think, for a concerned neighbor, that someone that has compassion, where you would be able to figure things out pretty quickly what's going on.
And those,
like, do you have food stamps? What are food stamps?
She did, but I mean, she hardly knew how to take herself to the grocery store.
So it's like you have food stamps, and you're not taking yourself to the grocery store to get. That's a huge red flag, because part of me is just like, now we know people don't be just saying no food stamps,
right?
So at this point, when DCS reopens the case, Natalia tells them, they only send me food once every few months. And that's when they started sending groceries consistently again, because they
were checking up on her.
And then Michael filmed her at that point. Well, I heard what you told the investigator, and that's a lie. And then they had her recant everything that she had said.
And then they take her phone and delete all the contacts so that she can't be in contact with DCS.
And she sent a letter to DCS defending her adoptive parents and said that she lied to hurt them.
Well,
and if you look at her handwriting, it's so immature.
It's so contradictory though, because it's like, at this point, if she's 22 years old, like you say she is, then why are you telling a full-grown adult what to do?
Exactly.
Don't go on my phone. Don't take out my contacts. Don't tell me who I can and cannot talk to. I'm 22 years old. So what are you doing? So it's just like, it's funny that, like, I get it. Like, they're at the power play and they're in control. But at the end of the day, like, if you were really convinced that she was an adult all that type of stuff,
they know
then
better.
You wouldn't have. So for someone that's an outsider and is picking up on these things, you should have been able to put two and two together and be like, okay, the Burnett's are contradictory and they're not making any sense. You know what I mean? Like, why are you still bothering her? You got what you wanted. You shouldn't be involved with her anymore.
And why
you're at a doorstep over here.
Why are you worried about getting in trouble if you're doing the right thing?
Exactly.
They were hiding something.
They were.
For sure. And then it's just sad because I feel like Natalia feels a lack of attention at this point, so she actually starts she made multiple police calls on herself just so
she says stuff like, I might hurt my neighbor, you know,
I'm stalking my neighbors, I'm afraid of what I might do. And so they would come over,
and Christine and Michael are planting planting these ideas in her head.
That she's dangerous. She wants to kill people. She's 22, so she's just regurgitating everything.
A lot of this stuff
because doesn't know what to do.
It's learned behavior. She's learned that if I do these certain behaviors, this is what's going to attention. It's reinforcing it. It's very common for any child to do that.
And they come in and, like, at some point she's sleeping on the couch and they're like, why are you still asleep? It's like the afternoon. I'm like, she has nothing to do. You took her out of school.
She doesn't have a job. She's not going to school.
She can't
drive. She barely can walk hardly anywhere.
We also find out that she's on some sort of, like, antipsychotic, right? Some sort of medication that's, like, making her sleepy.
Oh, no.
So of course she's gonna.
They call her and are like, "Did you take your medicine?" Yeah, and of course she's gonna sleep throughout the day.
Right?
Why are they calling her? I don't get that. Like, you got what you wanted. Honestly, at this point, I would just kind of, if I was one of their neighbors, I found out that, I'd be like, "What are you doing?"
Well, the reason that they're doing this is because they know even if she is an adult, she's still a dependent because of her disability. So she still has to have people taking care of her. And so they don't want to get in trouble because of that. Like at first they thought if we re-age her, we're going to get rid of her.
Yeah.
But then they realize that she's a dependent and you always have to take care of her.
And I think they really wanted to control the narrative that she was putting out there. It's like, okay, what is she telling people? Because we've told a certain story, but it needs to line up with what we're saying. And so they were very controlling, Christine especially, with their interactions with other people. She'd get in trouble for having conversations with the neighbors. At one point, Christine made Natalia apologize to a neighbor for no reason, but just saying, "Oh, I've been lying to you, and I'm a dangerous 22-year-old adult." You know, so they were constantly controlling her interactions and didn't allow her to have her own autonomy because they had to micromanage because they're hiding something. They know that what they're doing isn't right.
Know.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah,
well, they didn't want it to slip.
At this point, you have the neighbors like. Some of them are compassionate, some of them are disturbed, some of them are confused.
I think they're being cautious, which
is
understand.
valid. Like,
valid.
I don't want to invalidate the discomfort because it's definitely an uncomfortable situation.
It is.
And
if
like,
you
what
have
boundaries do I set
yourself,
with her? And you know, are the rumors of her messing around with little kids true, or with men? And and so I think a lot of
so at some point she was like playing with a little kid, and they thought that she was being
unbuttoning their pants or something.
Oh, okay.
But she says later on, she's like, I was just playing, like we were wrestling. I was a kid, but they thought I was an adult. So like to them it appeared inappropriate.
Right.
But
and so you just have a lot of the neighbors at
unease.
Right.
Yeah.
And I do understand. I understand that
too. And so
too.
at this point, the lease, there were so many complaints that they didn't renew her lease.
They said go.
Yeah.
After
and so
a year.
Christine has to find her another apartment out in Lafayette, which is it's a
way worse situation.
Community.
It's out.
Shootings happen.
Yeah. There's lots of crime.
Out the streets, homeless. Homeless people everywhere. Like, it's a really bad situation. And when they
are they funding for the apartment, or is she getting funding from it?
No,
they have her Social Security, don't they?
Yeah, because I was gonna say she should get, because she's now 22 years old. She should get Social Security for
They take it.
Okay,
but they do fund her living situation.
Well, if they're taking it, then they should be responsible for putting it.
Yeah, but it's even what they're funding is highly questionable though, because the new place they relocate her in, it's a 2-story.
First off, she's upstairs and she can barely like get.
Did they say why they got her that one?
I don't think they just gave a shit.
I think at this point they wanted to kill her.
I do. I think they wanted her gone.
Yeah. And even, I think Christine had said something that was shown in text messages between the Barnetts. She said, oh, yeah, it's a white trash neighborhood. Like, everyone will forget about her.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
they were waiting for her to
She was hoping that she would get snatched up.
Yep.
Oh, no. Or
something
hurt her or something.
Even when they went to, like, film at that location, they heard gunshots twice.
Yeah. Yeah,
it was very dangerous.
Very dangerous location. And
can you imagine an 8-9-year-old walking by themselves like that?
That's terrifying.
I mean, so yes and no. Like, obviously, it's not an ideal neighborhood, but for her, she's gonna stick out like a sore thumb if that's not her demographic.
On top of
but I mean, 8 and 9 year olds
and
probably
she's by
like
herself at 8 or 9. She doesn't have an adult walking.
Well,
with her.
yeah, but I do know that like there's definitely neighborhoods where 8 and 9 year olds be walking around in certain neighborhoods like that. But that's because they're used to it though. That's what they grew up in. Yeah. So it's a whole different situation for her.
That's true.
Well, they're trying. I think the point is they're trying to put her in the most dangerous situation possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And when they relocated her in Lafayette, they moved to Canada.
The Barnetts
weren't even in the States anymore.
Wow.
Yeah, and I believe
with their kids.
I believe it was for Jacob's. He had a scholarship opportunity.
Yes,
yeah,
yes.
so
they follow him.
Mm-hmm. And they just over there.
Okay. But Christine's like to Michael. She says, you need to tell your boss that you're quitting, and you need to sell all of our stuff here in the U.S. and then meet us in Canada.
Mm-hmm.
But they set her up there. While they're in Canada, they're not even going to be able to like bring her groceries or anything. They're just basically like, see ya.
Yeah, and her electricity bill, so that it wasn't being paid, which is why I said earlier the funding is highly questionable.
Starts like not paying her stuff, like not paying, like they take her phone away, and then they don't pay for her electricity. Mm-hmm. And she said it was really hot. Like there's nothing she could do about it.
Mm-hmm.
I will say, even though Michael is definitely responsible for some abuse.
Absolutely, yeah.
He did end up, like, he found out that she wasn't paying it. And he
the electricity bill,
the electricity bill, and he's like, you have to turn that back on. So he he made that happen.
Okay.
He wanted to make sure that,
They weren't killing her.
right.
Yeah.
Well,
I
it
think
didn't look
Christine
obvious that
had-
they're killing her.
Right.
I think Christine had more of a motive
devious.
to make her
intention.
disappear, whereas
Yeah.
Michael was probably with the
She
original
had animosity
plan.
towards Natalia
Very,
more so.
very much so.
Yeah. She wanted
Yeah.
her gone.
Mhm.
Quick.
Yeah. So at this point, Natalia goes missing, which is probably exactly what Christine was hoping
Yeah.
for. But she goes missing for a
no.
few days because in Lafayette, there was a GED center near her apartment. So she was going to GED classes, but then the the center called the Barnett saying, hey, we haven't seen Natalia. And so that's how they discovered she was missing. And so they start calling around, trying to figure out where she is, probably acting like concerned parents.
Oh no! Yeah.
And they
I'm
find
coming
out
to the rescue.
Yeah, they found out that she is now staying with the man's family, who saw her in a terrible situation and just took her in.
Yeah.
And the man's family, they are the kind of family that are constantly bringing in just like lost.
So
children.
the Anton is the father.
Yes.
And he is a pastor
Yeah.
of a church that he kind of started.
Yeah,
right?
and they just take in unfortunate souls.
And then Cynthia is the mom, and they have like, I don't know, 10 children that are,
not theirs biologically.
not theirs.
Okay.
A lot of them do have disabilities.
Right.
At first, it seems like a good situation. Like they actually really love her, and
Yeah.
they take her in.
It's kind of debatable
It's
because they
debatable.
also the Barnetts found out pretty quickly when she was staying there that
Yeah.
they had reissued the social security check to go to their
Right.
address, and they found out that they had used all the food stamp money on the card
Right.
for Natalia. So it's like, yes, they're taking care of her, but also are they just taking
But are
all
they
of the
using
money
her?
Yeah.
and using her for that? So it's to be kind of questioned at that time.
I think at
Yeah.
first it kind of appears it's a good situation for her and they love her.
Mm-hmm.
But then later on, we find out there are other motives.
And later seasons,
Okay.
we get a lot more information about them. It's quite interesting. The
Uh-huh.
Barnetts are kind of like the focus for today's.
right.
Yeah. But at this point in time, Natalia seems like she's being taken care of, but Christine hates that she's been taken in by another family.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
not just for
Because
the
they look
Social
sympathetic
Security.
now.
Yes.
Yeah.
But now it's like, okay, what story is Natalia telling them? And this looks bad.
And why did she have to flee to the man's?
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because Christine's not taking care of her.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That makes
So at
sense.
this point, Davenport, oh gosh, did I say Davenport was the detective that passed away earlier?
Yeah.
You're
Yeah, you
probably gonna have
did.
to cut that out because that was not the name of that detective. So just
What was
do
his
that.
name?
Klaus.
Klaus.
I messed it up in my head.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
so Klaus, who initiated the original CPS investigation,
I
he
thought
passed
Davenport
away.
was later.
Davenport is later, so my bad. But Davenport, he reopens the case when it's found out that she's now staying with the man's, and he thought she was being used. So he comes up to the man's family and he goes, "Hey, what's going on here?" And they start sharing the relationship between Natalia and Christine, and Natalia's scared of Christine, and he's like, "Okay, what's
Well,
really
doesn't
going
Christine
on here?"
report CPS to the man's?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how Davenport looks into it, and then realizes like this is not all.
Wait,
what it
she's not
seems,
22.
and she's 22 now.
Mhm.
Yeah. So
She finally gets the attention that she's deserved.
right, he
you
really
know?
starts.
Finally,
looking
someone
into
questions what the hell is going on.
It. And during this time, Michael and Christine aren't doing so well. Like you said, Christine was like, "You have to sell all of our stuff,"
and yeah,
right. But now they've divorced,
yeah.
and they are
There's lots of turmoil there.
Yeah.
She again tries to manipulate him. They have an argument, and she records part of the argument.
yeah.
I guess that she was going, according to Michael, she was going off like, you're not going to get to see your kids, and just going at him. And he at some point loses his shit and says, "Shut up or I'll kill you."
And it just gave her the perfect
Opportunity,
weapon
yeah.
to use against him and be like, "Okay, you're going to hurt our kids. You're going to hurt me."
She
And
records it. She reports it.
I feel like she wanted to kind of blame Natalia on him too. If something were to go wrong
Oh,
with
yeah.
Natalia,
She's
it's
trying to
Michael's
set it
fault
up.
because he's dangerous. And so you can see she's just concocting this whole other narrative, and she's just a mother trying to protect her children.
And you could
in Canada.
tell, yeah, that she moved to Canada with the intention of she didn't want him to move with her. She's trying to get rid of him. So at this point, He signs away his rights, doesn't he, to the children?
To her, yeah.
Yeah.
To Christine.
Yeah. Gives her full custody.
And moves back to Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
And Davenport decides to interview him about this case that's been reopened about Natalia. And Michael's perspective really pivots.
Changes.
From the original footage in the documentary of him talking shit about Natalia. Now it's like, well, Christine was abusing all of us.
And that one scene where he goes, we were all abused.
Yeah.
I'm like,
yeah,
oh, God.
Yeah. So the narrative completely changes. Everything's Christine's fault. And he quickly faces child neglect charges because Davenport, he was like, I'm on your side, man. I just need to know, like, was Natalia beat? And he admits to all of Christine's
He says Christine
abuse to Natalia.
Beat her on the regular.
Right.
And then this I thought was super disturbing when they said that Jacob was told to pee on her, like pee in her bed and on her.
That's weird.
Isn't that weird?
Yeah, that's
and Jacob comes forward and admits that, and he says he feels terrible, and he gets really choked up at this point in the interview.
But it just shows you that there's some weird sadistic stuff that they said was her fault, but then come to find out she's getting peed on. You know, like it's very disturbing.
But I think it was really smart of Detective Davenport to act like he was on Michael's side to get all that information. But at the time, Michael and Christine were still married when this all took place. On top of the abandonment, so it was like a unit decision. They both decided on that together. So Michael also faced charges of neglect, and he was like, "Why did I don't understand." Like, well, you just admitted.
You admitted.
You know, even if you weren't the one that beat Natalia, you were married to her and watching it.
And he also admits that he didn't think she was 22.
Does he?
Yeah.
Does he actually?
Yeah, because he said a different age. He said higher than what she is, but not 22.
He said 18 or something.
Right, which would have indicated that at the time he knew she was underage.
She was a minor. Yeah. So he's kind of a dum-dum. He just really let loose, thinking detective that finally someone has my back.
I think he thinks that if I put on the waterworks, which you'll see, like there's a lot of fake crying.
Someone
if I do crocodile tears, people are gonna believe me. You know, if I'm really dramatic about this, someone's gonna believe me.
And he was claiming like Christine manipulated both him and Natalia and said she made all the decisions about leaving Natalia.
We were all abused.
Yeah.
That's
we were all abused. Oh my God. That was just such an iconic. We got to find a clip of that.
Just crazy.
It sounds like he definitely was in victim mentality at that point.
Oh, the whole time.
And then he reenacts Christine's abuse on camera. He reenacts it physically. So he's like, this is how Christine
She puts her
Natalia.
elbow in
and
it.
he gets on his knees
beating her.
In the documentary. He's like, this is how she did it.
Yeah.
And then just like starts pummeling the carpet and screaming, who are you?
Oh my goodness.
That's
intense.
It's wild.
Oh.
And that's why we think maybe it had some history in theater or something because
Maybe.
Do we want to talk about the trial or should we
that's
say that for
what's
part 2?
No, that's we're actually almost done. That's what we're coming up on next.
Okay.
So at this point in time, you know, she's staying with the Manns. The investigation escalates, and the Barnetts have to head to trial.
For child neglect. But the situation is they say you cannot bring up the fact that she was a child.
Yeah.
Even though she was legally, like her age was changed legally.
By a judge.
Yeah. By a judge. You cannot mention that. So now this throws the case from child neglect to just abandonment. Neglect.
Okay.
Right?
Got it. Which really hurts Natalia's
really
case.
Hurts her case.
Because there's so much evidence. Doctors are coming forward and said, we always told them that she was a child. Her dentist comes forward
There was
and
a
says
dentist.
She was a child. She had
She had baby teeth. He's got scans of her baby teeth, like proof that she was a child.
And then they had proven that the Ukrainian birth certificate was accurate because a Ukrainian investigator had gone out and found the biological mother who stated Anna Gava, that she was in fact 6 years old at the time. So
it was really sad. That part was really
dismissed.
Sad.
Yeah, it was just heartbreaking.
Because she said because she had dwarfism, they told her just let the baby go. Like don't don't ruin your life, basically.
Right. And she was in tears during the documentary because she said, I wish I had kept her. I wish I had kept her and given her the home that she needed and
it's sad.
Someone to love her.
Yeah.
So, it was really sad.
That is sad.
Yeah. But
and also didn't they? Yeah, they proved like because they have her birth certificate, Anna's birth certificate. Mm-hmm. If she had her when they said so, like if let me see how I can put this. If Natalia was really 22, that would have meant that the mother was only 10 when she had her.
Dang.
You know, so like it's not possible.
Think about that.
Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
Yeah. So they have all of this, and it has to be dismissed because Natalia has
also,
to be 22.
They do a paternity test. That is her mother.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no questioning that. That's her mother.
Okay.
It was just so sad that none of that could be used.
Yeah, it's all this information that they have, that they've collected, that we know is true. And then there are times when Natalia's like, I don't remember that.
And they really
because
used
I
that
was
against
6 years
her.
old.
They used that against her.
Because it's
though.
like that wasn't the trial that was for that day. Because there would have had to have been a whole nother trial, which later ensued, but like another trial to focus on whether or not she's actually 22.
What I wish they had done is fixed her age and then been able to go through it. But it's just not what happened. So.
And all of her past interviews during the CPS investigations, it showed like, oh, you contradict yourself. You say, I'm trying to kill them. And then you said they whooped me. And so they used all of that against her as well. Yeah. But Michael Barnett's, because they had separate trials. And Michael's was first. And Michael was like, we're pinning this all on Christine.
Right.
Yeah. And so there was a lot of information leaked out about just text messages between Michael and Christine about Natalia, and she does not deny anything about abusing Natalia.
When he says
Michael's like, you beat her.
She never said, no, I didn't.
And Christine would be like, well, I'm just trying to protect my family, and she's a little demon spawn and blah, blah, blah. Like, there's just horrendous things that were said.
Can I just say, I absolutely hate his lawyer. He's such an asshole.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Completely disregarding.
Maybe he's doing his job.
He is, but
I freaking hate him.
But I feel like he doesn't fully respect Michael either.
No, because Michael's wild. He's insane.
Not to be respected.
No. There's some screws loose, yeah.
Right. Michael does say that Christine trained Natalia to lie, explaining her confusing interviews. And yeah, but it still just wasn't enough evidence.
So they have their trial. They only deliberate for like an hour and a half, which I personally thought, oh, that means he's screwed. Like they immediately would come back with a guilty verdict. No. Yeah. He's off the hook.
Yeah. And I'm trying to see.
Not guilty.
It was, about an hour and a half.
Yep. It was pretty quick. And typically that means that not good sign.
But you do find out there was a jury foreperson from that trial that came forward, Jane Parker. And she felt the verdict was unjust and blames legal technicalities for the final verdict and not the actual facts. And she said the jurors did feel like Michael
neglected her.
But it was just even though they didn't know, because the jury didn't know that about
she was
the whole age thing,
child.
they couldn't bring that in, so they just knew she was 22.
And later on, they asked some of the jury, like, if you had known that she was a child, would that have changed your opinion? And they're like, yeah,
they would have changed 100%. And then later on, after the trial, the jury foreperson, she saw the Dr. Phil episode. So Natalia comes out on Dr. Phil with the man's family.
And says her side of the story. And then everyone in that
find
case
out she
were
was
like,
16.
Wow, I didn't know that.
Yeah.
I think I saw clips of that.
Yeah. I actually need to rewatch it. It would be interesting. I've only seen small clips, but I'd like to watch it.
I think I've seen it, but I don't remember it.
She's the one that was said, catch me outside. How about that?
No.
She didn't say that.
That girl tried to become a rapper.
Yeah, she did.
Sort of.
Not like a huge one, but
oh my gosh. So anyway. By the time that trial took place and everything, Natalia was legally 30 years old. But on the Dr. Phil show, she was like, yeah, right now I'm only 16.
Yeah. She's a baby.
Still a minor.
And Michael subpoenaed.
She's like, I can drink though.
Yeah.
She didn't say that, but that's just what I was thinking.
I would take advantage of that.
Yeah.
But, that's just me. But anyways.
Y'all wanted to re-age me.
After Michael was found not guilty, he subpoenaed to testify against Christine because their trials were separate. But it was, there wasn't apparently enough sufficient evidence. And so Christine's,
for her case.
Yeah. It was completely
dropped.
wiped.
Yeah.
Yeah. Which is crazy.
It's wild.
Yeah. Because I feel like there's just so much, like all of the Facebook messages.
Texting evidence.
Texting other people. And
what do you mean you don't have sufficient
we haven't even
evidence?
covered all of it, but there
Makes
was a little person celebrity that she had reached out to trying to hook up Natalia with him. Like she was trying to proposition.
He was a full-on adult.
Yeah.
And she was trying to hook him up with her.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
They found that
and
out.
Thankfully, because I feel like this is pretty rare, but thankfully these men that she's trying to like, basically trying to get them to take advantage of her, he said no.
Yeah.
So thankfully.
He did. Yeah. And then there were even messages that came up of Christine cheating on Michael and sending nudes to other people because she didn't know how to use technology.
Yeah.
And so all of these photos are going in Dropbox and she had no idea. And so during this whole trial, like he's just seeing pictures of his naked wife, and she was trying to use, I think she manipulated him sexually to be able to have him sign off on the
That's
kids.
what he said.
Yeah, that's what he said. So there's a
she
lot
was
of
promising to do things to him.
I don't think it's necessarily untrue that Michael was.
I don't think he wasn't abused, but I also think he goes along with some abuse.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So shame
Sounds
on
like
you
it.
for that.
Yeah. But this is a funny way to end it, but after Christine Barnett's charges were dismissed, the producers tried to reach out to her to see if she would comment on this documentary.
Christine.
And Christine. Yeah. And she said she didn't want to add anything, but her one comment was, "Your network is whack."
Dang.
That was funny. I remember that.
Yeah.
I was like,
what? She talking about like all of Hulu?
Just the producers for this documentary.
Oh, okay.
Your network is whack.
Yeah, your network is whack. And that's all she had to say.
All right.
Yeah.
That's all she wrote.
And so I'm really excited because I'm going to try to conglomerate season 2 and season 3 together because there's a lot of repeating scenes that we've already discussed in this episode,
and it's just like
but from different
Natalia's
perspectives.
Yes,
yeah. Which it's going to be great to talk about her side of things a little more. And there's a lot more juicy tea to share. Oh, so many more people and their messy stories and how they all just make one big mess together.
Yeah.
So,
Can't wait.
I hope you enjoyed this one. And if you're interested in the story, definitely watch the next one next Wednesday. And on that note, goodbye for now.
All right. Catch you in part 2.
All right.
All right.
Bye.
Catch me outside. How about that?
All right.
Bye.